Good evening from Kleinshire. What are we up to these days? I wanted to show you as the weather changes and the harvest continues, just some of the things we're up against and some of the tasks that confront us. Tonight is all about getting the Brussels under shelter. I'm not sure what the weather is like where you are, but here in Wisconsin, winter has come early and with quite a bit of vigor. We've already had some cold stretches, and the one that we are about to have this weekend is going to take the cake. I think that today, with a high just above freezing, was pretty much our warm day until sometime next week. I'm looking at lows tonight, dipping down below 20 degrees probably. And then this weekend, I saw a low as 3 degrees Fahrenheit, which is pretty cold if you're a vegetable. I'm filming this in the pole barn tonight, where I am busy doing what I call a defoliation. Over here in this trailer, if you look behind me, nice and snowy since we brought it in the snow while it was snowing 2 days ago when it was 35 and snowing, are Brussels, full stock Brussels with their leaves on.
You can see that this is the way they look. We took loppers and we lopped them off at the base. And I filled the trailer as quickly as I could.
With people always expressing their concern for a garden which is about to experience a frost and burn and whatnot, it may actually come to you as a bit of a surprise that Brussels can deal with a pretty hard frost. Potatoes are fine down to about 28 degrees. Cabbages, which are a brassica like Brussels, are good down to about 22, 23 degrees. Brussels are even tougher than that because they're like little cabbages, a little less of a hard core which can suffer cellular damage. And depending on the variety of Brussels, we're talking good down to 18 degrees, even radically down to perhaps 9 degrees without frost damage, depending on the way the temperature comes in, its prolonged length, and things like that. However, with a low down to 3 degrees coming in just a few nights, I want to get as many of my Brussels under shelter as I can because 3 degrees is a little too cold, and there's a lot of work that went into this crop. So here I am. First step, defoliation off that trailer. Second step, if you look behind me now, you see that I have a trailer with my top from the greenhouse over it.
Under here, I'm filling it up with Brussels. You see I'm using brooms, rakes, anything I can, and ultimately this top will not be touching these Brussels. And I'm going to get this as full as I can with my harvest on the stalks.
Well, I could certainly fit more Brussels under here if I took them off of the stems, but the fact is that I can only sell them so fast. Organic Valley only takes them as they have an order, and honestly, they've been awfully slow. So if I take the Brussels off the stalks, then where you snap them off can end up yellowing and looking old, whereas cutting the whole plant like this and putting them in here and then snapping them off the stalks as the order comes in means Brussels that they're as good as fresh from the field because the plant is still alive even if I've lopped it off at the base. It allows for that freshness of the Brussels, if I can keep the temperature under control, to be good all the way into December. I filled my last order in December last year. So here I am, defoliating Brussels as fast as I can. I want to see if I can get this whole trailer full under shelter tonight, if possible, before the temperature drops, because honestly, you don't want to handle the Brussels while they're frozen. That ends up causing damage. Whereas if I defoliate like this while they are still flexible, which they are, even though technically it's below freezing right now. The plant itself has some warmth in it. You know, I'm not causing the same cellular damage that I would while they're frozen. So I always want to handle Brussels insofar as possible when they're unfrozen. With all the things that have gone right for us this year, I hate to complain, I really do. But the fact is, as I work on these Brussels, I can't help but think of how tough the market is and my frustration for the way that the wholesale market works, because I'm growing beautiful Brussels here. I mean, look at this. Look at these Brussels. Beautiful, big Brussels. No bugs, very little insect damage, no spray. What do you buy them for in the store? Wouldn't surprise me if it's for organic Brussels. $6 a pound, $7 a pound, something more than that. Now, what do you think I get on the wholesale market for these Brussels that you pay $6 plus for a pound? Well, the target price, that is the price that Organic Valley was expecting to pay us farmers, was about $21 for a 10-pound box, which would be $2.10 a pound. And that's not great, but it's doable. You have to understand, when you sell wholesale, you're supporting not only the farm, but because you have the opportunity to grow a mass amount and make a living off of it instead of spending your time at the farmer's market selling small amounts and spending your time in consumer relations and things like that, you don't expect to make anywhere near that retail price. I have to support the people who sell the Brussels to the wholesaler. I have to support the truck drivers who get the Brussels there. There's the grocery store and the fact that they have bills to pay, heat in their store, things like that. I get it. $2.10 a pound. Not much, but that's pretty much what I was expecting. Well, it's okay, Snowy. Guess how much I turned in 180 pounds of Brussels at earlier this week? $12.60 for 10-pound cases. Now that is rock bottom, no good, rotten price. That's, with all my expenses, to be honest, that ends up being minimum wage, less, given that it takes me a half an hour to pack the case. Between this and popping them off and quality control, getting them out of the field. That doesn't take into account the fact I cultivated them, I planted them, I hoed them. I weed ate the rows when my cover crop came up. I started the seeds, I bought the seeds. I heated the greenhouse through the cold nights to get those seeds going. And then the actual packing, pretty close to minimum wage. How in the world is the price $12.60 a pound? Again, I'm trying not to complain, because part of the reason we grow a variety of crops is because sometimes these things happen, and we had crops that did spectacularly, where the price actually jumped in the opposite direction. But it's so hard when I look at these Brussels, and I know their quality, And I have other things I could spend my time doing. And I have a family, bills to pay, to be doing this for minimum wage. I have an Amish fellow farmer who at a meeting when we talked about the MAP pricing, how low can we go, who said, it's better to be doing something than nothing. And, I rebel against that on one level, but on the other, I can't help but turn this in. Like, I can't see this crop go to waste. And yet I feel like even in turning the Brussels in at that price, I'm contributing to enabling. I'm enabling the market to work like that. What do you do though? It's the free market. The free market gives us good things. The high price, I think I turned in my last kale for $21 for a box when the expected price was $14.50 a box. End of season, it gets rarer. I was only one of 2 growers for Organic Valley at that point who still had kale. Kind of proud of that. I think it had a lot to do with the cover crop. The other farmer I know uses foliar feed to give the crops, the kale, an extra boost. I didn't, but my planting of kale probably gave a boost in nutrition that otherwise wouldn't have been there. Free market gave me that, really good kale price at the end. But now free market gives me this. What if I refuse to turn them in? I mean, this looks like a lot. I'm probably expecting to produce about 1,200 pounds of Brussels all told, 1,000 to 1,200 pounds. But I'm little. This is not a big production. I could refuse to turn them in. No one would notice. See, this is sort of the ethical conundrum that I find myself in with farming. The system doesn't always pay a fair wage. I appreciate what the free market gives me when it's good. Yes, and here I am complaining when it's bad. But somebody's making a killing off of these Brussels. And it isn't me. Sometimes the market's great, sometimes it isn't. Well, how do you pay a mortgage that stays the same each month if in fact you don't know whether you're going to be paid $21 for a 10-pound case or $12 for a 10-pound case? How do you plan for that? It's scary. There is a way around this, by the way. I okayed it with my wholesaler for whom I'm growing the crop, since the crop is so badly priced this year, and since they're concerned with the welfare of their farmers, not just me, farmers. This isn't just me. They've okayed me selling, finding an alternate market. I'm not begging, because one way that we handle market volatility as a farm is we grow different things. So it kind of, as I was saying earlier, balances out. I'm not begging. Yet at the same time, it certainly help us out if you wanted to buy Brussels from us. These are not Brussels that have sat for weeks on a store shelf and look shriveled. When we send them out, they're plucked off of here, and they're about as fresh as you can get. They get you in a couple days. And I have it set up at kleinshire.com, where usually we sell garlic. I've sent off about 100 pounds so far to our loyal garlic customers. I don't know how to make it happen, but if this video were to go viral, I have 1,000 pounds of Brussels. I think I could handle any number of orders that was thrown at me. So feel free to share this video. Help a farmer out. Again, I'm not begging, but you could consider it a way to fight, the volatility of the market that makes farming such a risky endeavor. I'd love to send you some Brussels. I would. Well, my phone's gonna die out here in the cold, and I still have Brussels to put in here. I'm about halfway through my trailer. I think maybe I can fit them all in here and keep them safe. I'll put the milk house heater underneath. It'll be 35 degrees in here, even if it's 5 degrees out there. You know, these Brussels will stay for a while. Love to send you some. Kleinshire.com is the place to go. That's it for tonight. This is what I'm up to. It's good fun till I'm tired of it. Pretty soon I want to go in. I'm getting cold. God bless.